Good morning, folks. John Canode here from Ormond Beach, Florida. Another chilly morning. The project for today is to modify this fuel tank for a customer who is doing a Ford van conversion from two-wheel drive to four-wheel drive, and it involves shortening this tank. But first, we've got to clean up this mess. I have a bad habit of working the same way a raging storm goes through a community. So anyway, we're going to do that. We're going to work on that tank. And about 11 o'clock, I've got to go see a potential client in Daytona who has some antique cars. He wants some welding done on the sheet metal of these cars. So I'm going to go over there and check that out. I'm going to take some video of these cars and also post it on YouTube and Rumble. So stay tuned. All right, folks, John Canode here. We have brought in the fuel tank that I've been asked to modify for a client who is doing a conversion, four-wheel drive conversion on a two-wheel drive Ford van. So the first thing we've got done is we've placed a straight edge on the fuel tank. It's just a piece of aluminum stock. And now we can use the tank's own straight edge as a guide to make sure we have a nice straight cut. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut this section off and weld on an end plate, an end cap. So we can start right here. Whoopsie daisy. Doing it wrong. There we go. That's the way it's supposed to be right there. Alright, so we can just turn the tank over, draw another line, and splice all the lines together until we've got a nice square guide for cutting. Square tube and some magnets that are stuck to the tank, and we're using clamps to hold the square tube up against the tank. And we've taken a precision instrument called a ruler and made a measurement to square up the square tube with the tank. Now we can put a straight edge or square on the continue to draw a reference to make sure we get a nice square cut all the way around this tank. Repositioned the tank, squared up the straight edge, and I'm screwing up.
Picking up slowdowns on the eastbound side of Granada Boulevard, that's headed towards US 1 in the Ormond Beach area. Both sides of US 17 slowing down congestion at Rhode Island Avenue in Orange City. Things are looking okay right now in LPGA in Daytona. A little busy, but not seeing any major reports of slowdown. And watch out in the Port Orange area on both sides of the Gun Line between I-95 and
Hell, I do my marker. God, I hate that.
National Guard, aired by the Florida Association of Broadcasters and this station. Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter recruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It's how the technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job.
Parents out there, look at these two moms there, that they're aspirations. Everyone should be listening to them. That we should. And, I just look at. In and out.
All right, so we've got the end cut off. We got a really square, cut, I believe. I really like that. What we're gonna do is we're gonna practice on this guy here first to see how well this thing will weld. I'm afraid that it might be galvanized. If that's the case, you got to take some precautions. You cannot breathe in galvanized smoke. It is deadly. So we'll have to figure something out how to keep from breathing that crap in. So the tank does have some galvanized material on it. So what we've done is we've set up some fans. As you can see, I have a fan way up there and a fan here. And then I have the rear door open to my back of my shop here to create a tunnel of vacuum. So I'm going to try it. Hopefully the smoke that comes from the weld and the heat and burning will be sucked on out of here. Okay, so we got our fans on. We got our piece of metal that we're going to use for a test. And we got us a some mild steel filler rod. My plan is to run a test weld here to see how well this works. Oh God. The thing about welding is it always takes forever to set everything up. There's more work in setting everything up than there actually is work welding. So we've drawn our pattern using the piece we cut off, and then we've drawn an inch around it, the pattern, so that we can fold the metal into a cup type formation. For those of you who do not use the grinder very much and you're wanting to learn, you can, if you're careful and skilled enough, you can cut these curved edges by just skimming the metal. So to bend them easier, we're gonna make slices. All right, so as you can see, we've cut our slices. I've lined it up with the edge of the table. I've got me a die or a dolly or and I'm doing it the wrong direction. This is the inside. That would have sucked. Wait a minute. Yeah, I'm gonna have to look, make sure I'm doing it the right way. Okay, I had it correct.
Agent producer can answer any questions you have and help you choose the plan that's right for you. The call is free.
Turn down to politics for a little bit. You know, one of the things that I've learned through the years, growing and maturing, and not getting in a hurry, and always double check your work, even triple check. One of my worst habits is measuring once, cutting the material, and then going back, and it's short or too long by 1/8 of an inch or something, and it's just so aggravating. Wow, okay, this thing's looking great. Tomorrow's the big day to weld it. It'll seem like nothing to you guys because I'm going to turn the camera off, and then when it turns back on, it'll be like, hey, no time went by. Totally pleased with that. Morning, folks. John Canode here in Ormond Beach, Florida. The temperature is not too bad this morning, like 55 degrees. And today we are going to finish welding up the fuel tank for my latest client. Pretty pleased with it right now. Got a perfectly symmetrically cut. And I've got a really good looking end plate for it, and it's nicely beaded all the way around there. So just got to burn some gas and filler, and probably an hour's worth of welding. So we'll see how it turns out. Let's get started. So the first thing we got to do before we start welding is secure this cap on there really tight. So I've put this, what they call motorcycle straps or ratchet strap, on here to pull the end cap there we go. So what we'll do is we'll tack it and go from there. So I'm not sure if I'm going to use the MIG or the TIG on it. Depending how it welds, we'll see. Okay, as you can see, we have tacked it with the MIG welder, and I do not believe the MIG welder is going to do its efficient job, so we're going to use the TIG and see how well this goes. So what we're doing is we're taking some fill rod and we are jamming it underneath the lip of the seam that we got to weld. Pretty certain it's going to take quite a bit of metal, so I want to have as much as I can to weld to. I think that's going to work. I'm pretty pleased with that. We'll take a blending wheel and make that look prettier, but as I go I'll get better. We're using a magnet to help hold the filler up against the seam to help me get the metal in there easily. All right, folks, we have finished welding the cap on the tank. This was a challenge to do because that metal just wanted to disintegrate. I had to be very careful with the heat. Just a little bit too much heat and she'd burn a hole in it. So fortunately, this TIG welder that I have here is absolutely spectacular for the old beast that she is, and I was able to get the job done. So now it's time to do a leak test.